Good morning, good evening, and good afternoon to my 130 wonderful, amazing subscribers. Welcome to another chapter of the Krakens Lair Comics. Just felt like doing a little quick unboxing of some recent things that I've got. I've got stockpiled some stuff here. Nothing really major, just some things I've been picking up here and there. Some with minor significance, some that are just significant to me, something I wanted in the collection. So we'll get off my face and we're going to jump right in this. Like I said, I just want to do a quick little video here just to have some content for everybody, hopefully to enjoy. Sit back and relax. First off, what we have here, giant size Spider-Man number 4 with Spider-Man and the Punisher. Now, the minor significance of this is that this is the third appearance of the Punisher. Obviously, Amazing Spider-Man 129 is very expensive, even in lower conditions. I want to say, correct me comic book people, maybe his second appearance was Amazing Spider-Man 138. Such a cool cover with this sort of division of a spider that then in between like the spider's legs you see, you know, faces of like Harry Osborn and the Punisher and the Tarantula. Really love that cover. Always some good advice, especially for newer collectors. While they're never going to retain the value of a first appearance, where first appearances get really super expensive. I mean, first of all, my advice would be, as opposed to buying a bunch of minor stuff, you know, save up your money. You can get Grail books. For anybody that watched my video of books I acquired just in the last year of 2024, you know, I got giant size X-Men number 1, Iron Man number 1, Amazing Spider-Man number 16. I had just, before 2024 began, on Christmas Day, I did an unboxing of Daredevil number 1. So, I mean, I work for a living. Yeah, I'm not, you know, a doctor or a lawyer or, you know, into real estate. You know, I work for a living. I have to save up for big key books like that. So for me, as opposed to buying a bunch of $20 books or $50 books here and there, I like to put my money where I can towards major books. Now, back to my point of if you just can't afford the first appearance of a major character and saving up for it, maybe it's just currently not an option for you. Maybe the finances aren't there right now. Maybe you're having other economic hurdles. You know, the car needs fixing and you need a new washer and dryer. And certainly those things are much more important than comic books. So take care of your needs first before your wants and desires and things that you just enjoy. But if you enjoy a character, we'll use the Punisher as an example, you can pick up his second appearance for a fraction of what his first appearance is. This, his third appearance, gosh, I'd have to go look, but I spent so little on it that even though this is in a pretty high condition, I mean, the colors really pop on this. It looks really good. Maybe a little bit of spine roll here because you can see where it says Spider-Man along the edge. Possibly a pressing would fix that. However, for the value of this book, I probably would never feel inclined to spend the money to have it pressed and dry cleaned, much less, you know, graded. It just it's not going to cover the additional cost of me doing those things. I would like at some point maybe to look into, you know, how to press books myself. A little bit nervous about it, but if I started off practicing on, you know, inexpensive books, books that didn't have that much value, I'm sure I could get better at it and then save that money and possibly improve some books with mid-value and make them a little bit better. So, third appearance of the Punisher. My camera just want to sort of slide a little bit, but we're just going to let it do its thing. Going to get into the next one. And like I said, there's nothing really major key here. Just some fun stuff, some things I enjoy. So we're going to get right into this one. And I will say good on this seller. I mean, he put it in that top loader, and it really makes it look especially nice. All right, free Gemini mailer. I can always use those. Seller put this in bubble wrap. Always a good idea. Let's ship comics the way that we want to receive them, people. Spread the message. And perhaps for sellers that don't know how to properly package books, we can teach them. All right, once again, nothing major here. This is just something fun. I was watching a video. I think it might have been Dope Comics. And if you guys don't subscribe to him, check out his videos. He did one that was so funny. He had recommended this book. It's Ghost Rider number 33, but apparently it's got a first appearances, like multiple first appearances of various incarnations of the Ghost Rider Spirit of Vengeance, like throughout history. And he calls it like he sees it. If there's a issue that's garbage, and the art's garbage, and the story's garbage, no matter how much he likes the character, he will call it out and go, hey, this is trash. You don't spend your money on it. But for fans of Ghost Rider, and I'm certainly a fan of the Ghost Rider, to have these multiple first appearances of, like I said, different incarnations of, the Spirit of Vengeance. The story sounded really cool. I'm really interested in having a look at this one. And if you're a Ghost Rider fan, maybe that's something you as well might like to check out. Gonna open up. There's one I can't remember what it's in, but there's some like version of the Ghost Rider that I guess is like in Neolithic times or something, and he's literally like riding this flaming woolly mammoth. I thought a couple times about getting that. It's a variant cover that shows that image, and I guess it had a lower print run. So because of that, it's a little bit more expensive. And like I said, sort of heeding my own advice. Other than something like this, if I'm spending $7 on a comic book with the shipping, or $10, it's not a big deal. But if I'm gonna justify spending $50, $60, $70, $80 on what a modern book. I mean, even if that modern book came out within the last 10 years, to me, that is still very much a modern book. And I'd rather save that $80 to go towards something a little bit higher up the food chain, because $80 here, $100 there, $50 here. Now you're starting to talk some money that you can actually do something with. During the spike in comic books, when like comics were just getting very stupid expensive, and I was actually starting to feel like maybe I was priced out of the hobby, I started doing this little niche collection of Lady Death with homage covers to other well-known covers that we know. There's one that's a homage to Tomb of Dracula #1, to Werewolf by Night #1, Mrs. Marvel #1, and so on. And I've shown some of those, and to me, they're just really fun. So I picked this one up. Deathzilla, the Queen of Hell. I like how the price tag on it is $666. This is the Malevolent Decimation #1 of 2. But everybody knows me. I love monsters. I had to have this, especially because I do have Godzilla #1, that obviously the Deathzilla is a homage to this cover. Really high grade, 9.4. This I literally got off the rack when I was a kid. I was seeing ads for the release date of when this was gonna hit the comic book stands. And I had accompanied my mother on some shopping trip to Cumberland Mall, and it was one of those situations where she's like, sort of like, hey, be good, let mommy do her shopping, and, I'll get you a toy or something. And I was like, hey, there's this comic book that is, just came out. Could I get that? And she was like, absolutely sure. And because it was like, the first or second day after it was supposed to hit the stands, I have to applaud my mom. I mean, we must have gone to 5 different little, 7-Elevens or things of that nature, at this time. I mean, this came out in 1977, so I was 8 years old. There wasn't a local comic book shop nearby, so where I got comics was literally off the rack at, some kind of convenience store that had a spinner rack. And like I said, we must have gone to about 5 places, and I was actually sort of getting to the point where I felt kind of bad that I was putting her through this effort to go get this comic book. So I was like, Mom, it's okay, don't worry about it. And she was like, no, she's like, I told you we were gonna get this, we're gonna find it. And eventually we went to, a different 7-Eleven or, Bob's convenience store or something, and there it was. And I kept it safe all those years, and came back graded at 9.4. Once again, just sort of pointing out, I love these homage covers. They do such a good job being respectful to the source material, and just super fun. So I really like that. Get old Godzilla #1 back in its protected plastic. 2 left to go. Like I said, there's not tons to say about these or, gush over them for too long. Just fun stuff. Things I wanted in the collection. All right, here we go. Here, I know Dope Comics and Barbarian Kung Fu, they're both gonna like this. They're seem very similar, motivated like I am about monsters and things like that. Dope Comics just showed some really cool EC horror titles. Tales from the Crypt, Vault of Fear or something like that. And I love those. I only have a few EC books in my collection. One of them is signed by Al Williamson. I've, of course, shown that in a video. The ones I do have, I love. I'm very proud of. Now, this is the 3rd issue of Creature of the Black Lagoon Lives. I've shown these. I thought this was in this stack, so I pulled some stuff up to supplement it. So here's my issue #1 is somewhere in my collection. I don't want to dig that out. But first of all, love this cover. Very menacing. I like the girl sort of floating there. It looks like she's under the Creature of the Black Lagoon spell. So here's 2 different versions of issue #2. Really like both of these. Not a comic book, but to just show you guys, I love all monsters. I love all of the Universal movie monsters. I have all those on DVD. The Bela Lugosi Dracula, the Boris Karloff Frankenstein, Lon Chaney Jr. Werewolf, all that stuff. But I've always had just a particular soft spot for the Gill Man. Just something really. He looked like, very much like a monster. His clawed hands, his, webbed fingers. Just love the Gill Man. This was a toy that I've literally had since the 70s. This little wind-up Creature of the Black Lagoon. It used to be the spring or whatever is long gone on this thing, but it used to be when you wound it up, not only would his little feet move and he'd walk, but there was something in his mouth where it would like shoot out little sparks. So it had to be some kind of like 2 stones or something like kind of grinding together. So it shot out little sparks, and I have literally had this since somewhere probably, about 6 years old. So hard to read the date on the bottom of this foot. I think once I took a photo of it so I could zoom in on the photo. But on similar lines, I mean, like the Godzilla comic book, this probably came out, 76, 77, something like that. Even into my adulthood, I still love the Creature of Black Lagoon. Now, I used to have the original Aurora model of this, where his head would like it would glow in the dark in his hands, and a couple other parts where you had an option of using just the straight uh, dark green molded plastic or the glow in the dark one. Of course, being a kid when my brother and I built it, we were like straight up like glow in the dark. But I painted this one in 2007. I think I did a pretty good job. I did a pretty good job on his eyes. Uh, did a pretty good job on his scales. On the little swamp water he's standing in, the rocks. And this little saucy little guy right here. Made the snake look like one of those king snakes or whatever. But I had such fun painting this, and he looks great on my shelf. Rawr, 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 rawr. So there's some Creature of the Black Lagoon comics. I kind of stopped with these because once again I haven't even read the story yet, but I'll see how much I actually enjoy the story if I want to keep continuing collecting these, because I am not getting them off the rack from the comic shop. I think a couple of them I might have got free shipping on. Some of them I bought as a pre-release, but even at cover price, $5 for the comic book and $3 shipping or $4 shipping, depending on who the seller is. That gets back to what I'm saying about how I have to be a little bit more diligent in the finances and my comic book budget, and so I don't want to nickel and dime my comic book budget on $8 here, $8 there. I do have 2 comic books on layaway purchase from Chris at the We Love Comics. One is Amazing Spider-Man number 41. And once again, forgive me on this one. I don't collect too many DC comics, but I also have Batman. It's the first appearance of Poison Ivy. Might be like 282 or 285 or something like that. Both of them graded, lower grades, 3.5. Nothing that's breaking the bank, but obviously the first appearance of the Rhino in the one, the first appearance of Poison Ivy in the other one, which goes back to what I've been saying, that if I'm going to put my money into a book, I'd like to put it into a more significant key issue, potentially of a major character, where I can feel fairly confident that as we're getting out of the recent comic books slump, if you want to call it, post the comic book boom, where books were way overinflated in price, that as this is beginning to normalize, it's getting to get back to the prices are sort of what they were pre comic book spike. I think some we saw really dip really as low as you won't see those, unless something else catastrophic happens, probably ever. Now is really a good time. If you've got the funds and there's been any kind of key issue that you've had your eyes on, Submariner number 1, I don't know, Hulk 180. Now is really a good time to find some deals on those books. I don't see them getting any cheaper. Like I said, certainly not anytime soon, unless, the meteor hits or something catastrophic happens. Now, this one's got a little minor significance. And you tell I've been sitting on this one for a while. This is the first appearance of Lady Deathstrike in Alpha Flight number 33. There had been some speculation when they were talking about cameo appearances that were potentially going to be in the Wolverine and Deadpool movie, or Deadpool and Wolverine movie. And I hadn't heard any specific rumor about Lady Deathstrike that she was going to be in it, but appreciating the cachet of female characters, and I had recommended to people for many years before that movie to pick up Merc with a Mouth number 7, I believe it was, the very first appearance of Lady Deadpool, as well as Lady Deadpool number 1. I hope some of you guys listen to me, because I got those like stupid cheap, like $6 with shipping cheap. Nobody was talking about them. Nobody was interested in them. I took a gamble on the Lady Deathstrike. Once I'd have to go look. If I pay less than $10 for a book, I really don't like commit it to memory. It's just not worth it. But very affordable. I did get this before the movie came out, and she was in the movie. Didn't have any kind of major significant role to play other than just one of the horde of villains, but she was in the movie, which has created a resurgence of interest in this character, and so I'm glad I picked it up when I did. And that's what I have to show for you guys today. Once again, nothing outrageous. Probably, if I would recommend any one of those books for my subscribers to pick up, it would be that Spider-Man, that giant-sized Spider-Man, third appearance of Punisher. Once again, there's a lot that can be done with Punisher. I know for a fact we have not seen the last of the Punisher. Whether that's a rebooted TV show, whether that's him making appearances in another character's TV show, whether that's him coming into the MCU proper. I don't think, nor would I recommend, that they come out of the gate giving the Punisher like his own solo movie. Outside of the comic book community, I don't know how well the Punisher is known, and you would have to sort of tackle the subject matter kind of carefully. Vigilante justice and all that stuff, and this guy running around with automatic weapons, and you're gonna have to make it so the audience really feels this guy's pain and where he's coming from, that has created this drive in him to really sort of be merciless when it comes towards gang lords or drug lords or like really, really bad dudes, that he does not have much pity or empathy for them and does not have a problem using extreme force. So I don't know if Disney's ready to tackle that. But like I said, if you did it right, and I think if you had him start off, not just a little cameo, but I think he could, where if you did it sort of Marvel team-up style, like in a Spider-Man movie where it starts off like, Spider-Man thinks that the Punisher is the villain, but then they, team up and align together on a common goal to stop some big scary bad. I think if you handled it that way, it would be really good for the character. It'd be really good for the exposure of the character to a wider audience that then could open up the door. So, rambled on long enough. Look into that issue of Spider-Man, the third appearance of Punisher. Is very affordable. You can find a really decent grade of it. And as always, enjoy comic books. Enjoy comic book collecting. This is Daniel at the Krakens Lair. I got some more comic books coming. As I said, the Amazing Spider 141, the Batman. And I'm sure I will have some more comic books coming soon. And I'll see you guys soon and do another video. And everybody, have a great day. Thanks for watching.